Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and today we're going to do a review of Terminus, the new hero or champion inside of Paladins. So this video is going to be a little bit different than previous ones. I've been trying to mess around with this format. I did live first impressions, I just did live gameplay, and then I've been trying to do some more review-oriented stuff. So this one's going to be more like critique-oriented, but I will kind of just give you a rundown of the hero here. So Terminus, he's the melee hero that's been added. Now, this is the only melee hero that exists in Paladins at the moment, aside from Makoa Ultimate and Grover used to have melee. So there's some other pseudo-melee characters in this game, but essentially this is like his main attack is going to be the Massacre Axe. He's an axe-wielding dude, bro. And, well, that's going to be like his bread and butter, right? So, that's kind of unique for Paladins. Paladins is a fast-paced game. It's very vertical. It's very flanky. There's a whole lot of things going on all over the place. So having a melee hero is actually maybe a little bit debatable. But let's go ahead and run through everything else that he does and how that all works together inside of the, you know, the core of the gameplay loop of Paladins. So, immediately, his aesthetic is very similar to Siphon inside of League of Legends. He actually has a Resurrect ultimate, but we'll get into that. But overall, I think he looks kind of interesting. He looks like he fits in Paladins. Again, another criticism I have is that his color palette is very one-note. I would say a lot of heroes in Paladins don't actually have like the vibrance that I want with their aesthetic. It's always like kind of very vanilla, and then you're really supposed to buy skins, but we'll just move on from that note there. Anyways, so yeah, mechanically, he's a tank. He is healthy as hell. He's got 4,900 health. That's beefy, guys. That's really beefy. So yeah, he's gonna be able to take some damage, absolutely. But in terms of shielding, you know, how does he protect his teammates? Well, he's just a bigger dude. You're supposed to kind of be in the face of enemies a little bit, sort of. And, yeah, he does have a shield. He does got a shield. But let's go ahead and talk about that. So aside from the axe, which swings kind of slow, 1.1 seconds, you can, you know, swing your axe. It says a large arc on the website. I don't like when games like give me sort of a vague definition of the size of things. Like if it's small, big, large, epic, you know, no, you can't trust that. Basically, from my experience, this is not large compared to Overwatch's Genji or Overwatch's Reinhardt. The melee range is not large, especially considering like Gigantic's melee characters. This, it feels like Makoa. It basically is Makoa's melee. But yeah, so enemies will take 700 damage. That's a decent amount of damage, but it's melee, and it is not large. It is a very smallish area that you can actually melee people. So you do that, you get in people's face, you kind of block, body block with your health, obviously. But then we get into what I think is kind of like what's really cool about him, and he has an ability called Power Siphon. This is kind of directly emulating D.Va. Basically, you make a shield in front of you. I don't really know if it blocks more than kind of just in front of you, so you're still kind of just body blocking, but you put a shield up and it does actually block pretty much everything. And it is a channel, sort of, I guess kind of like resource. It's not like ammo, or it's not like a cooldown, so it actually does refresh. You can actually see that on the screen. So that is going to absorb projectiles as well. And this is pretty cool because this goes in tandem with his right click, which is called Calamity Blast. Now, frankly, if he only had these two abilities and you could constantly use them, this would be probably the most fun character in an FPS, period. However, it's kind of just a portion of his kit. You're really just meleeing most of the time, and that's kind of, yeah. Anyways, so Calamity Blast is going to be like your Hadouken. It's going to be like a fireball. So you're going to fire a projectile. It deals 250 damage, which isn't a lot. And even though it's a projectile, it actually kind of moves kind of fast. I don't think it really has much splash, though. But basically, it's just 250 damage, little Hadouken. Really good for zoning or finishing off people, or maybe some poke, you know. But really what you want to do is Power Siphon, and you absorb projectiles, and then you get these little knocks there. You get these little... You get extra little projectiles that you can shoot with Calamity Blast. So then you can like do some huge burst. Like if you do get one melee swing, or even not, like you might be able to kill somebody just like you run down kind of machine gun the Calamity Blasts. So like I said, it would be really awesome if you could just Power Siphon Calamity Blast, Power Siphon Calamity Blast, and you can kind of do that. But the cooldown's pretty high, and again, it's not the biggest, most intense amount of damage, and it's not like you're really shielding your whole team like you would with a Reinhardt shield or the D.Va actual shield. So it's a little bit different, and I do like how it plays together with these two abilities, and I just kind of want to keep playing that, and you kind of can. You really can Calamity Blast frequently. It's just, it lasts for just a little bit amount of time. So the best players, what you're going to do is you're not going to hold it. You're going to see somebody, you know, like an Eevee, shoot their ice projectile at you, and you're going to block it instantaneously. And then you're going to, you know, you're going to actually just Calamity Blast back at her. So that's what you can do. You can kind of have that playstyle, but don't assume that any just average new player is going to be doing that. There's probably some cards that you can use to facilitate that sort of gameplay, and I would suggest that for fun. I don't know if it would be good or not, but for just pure fun factor, look for cards that will facilitate that sort of gameplay of shield attack, shield attack. It's a lot of fun. Then we have Shatterfall. This is going to be more of something to help you melee, because essentially the melee, like I said previously, Paladins is a fast game, right? It's all over the place. Melee is just not really going to work. Unless they increase the range of his melee, that's not happening, especially on payload. So Shatterfall is going to be similar to Reinhardt's ultimate, except it just does damage and it slows. But it's also a leap. It's more of a leap in the air versus leap horizontally, which is actually pretty cool. I would prefer if we could leap a little bit higher, because I think there's a lot of platforms that we can almost get on top of, but we can't quite do that. And it'd be really fantastic, because most tanks in this game don't have any sort of vertical, you know, like counter. Like, you can't, like, a lot of people, flankers especially, are gonna be just above you. And all you can do as a tank is just kind of get hit, you know, that's all you can really do. But it would be really cool with this character if we could jump up there. So we can almost do that. In a lot of cases we can. We can just jump up there and smack them down. But with this, it's just kind of almost there. It does 500 damage. That's okay. Landing on them, it's going to slow them. They can use an ability to blink away, like the case with like Eevee or something. But if you do land on them and then you Massacre Axe, it's going to KO them. Of course, you could also Calamity Blaster and Power Siphon and, you know, do that whole gameplay thing. You know, if they try to shoot you or give you or what have you, because there's a lot of characters that can do a lot of damage back at you. I'm sure you're fine. I think you can, if you land the Shatterfall, you probably will get a kill, I think, even against really good players, because you either have a melee or you can Calamity Blast. However, they can still use abilities to get away, and not only that, but they can use abilities as you're actually using the ability. It's really telltale, like, all throughout the gameplay that you're going to be watching, actually. They had a support on the enemy team, and he was constantly just grabbing me midair. So if you see me, it looks like I'm stuck midair. That's because he saw me about to use this ability, and he just grabs me. So that's kind of hugely detrimental to me. And not only that, but I think the gameplay in the background is going to be really exemplary, because we're actually playing payload, which, frankly, I think that if you're playing payload, you will never ever pick this character, because people can just kite you around the payload. Now, any other game mode, you know, with open field, that's fine. But if you have something that people can kind of run around, you're just not going to be able to melee them. You're just not going to be able to properly play this character. Especially because of his ultimate reanimation, which is essentially a Diva ultimate. It activates on death, though. Reanimation, when you die, you come back to life after 2.5 seconds, and there's a giant, massive explosion that does 4,000 damage. Keep in mind, tanks might be able to absorb this, especially with shielding, but 4,000 damage is going to kill every average normie dude, especially if somebody is actually hurt, which is probably going to be the case because you're dead, so I'm assuming you did some damage. You're probably going to wipe the field or make them at least get off the point. So this is going to be really good for the main competitive game mode, capture points, and then all that good stuff. That's really what this guy kind of focuses on, is just standing in there. I still think that he's not a main tank, definitely not. He has a lot of aggression to him, and he kind of really shields more of himself. He's not going to be like a Makoa or a Fernando, something like that. But I think in terms of something like Ashe, you know, you could play like that. So yeah, he's tanky, and he can stay alive for a decent amount of time, but he got range issues, and then he's also very telltale with the Shatterfall. So if you want to be aggressive, people can really see it coming. Even more so than something like Ashe, which, yeah, you can see her charge up, but then she instantaneously runs forward and knocks you back. So, this guy, he's kind of interesting. He's got some interesting concepts, but I do want to, again, reference what I think this game referenced here when they designed this guy. Is they essentially took Reinhardt and Diva from Overwatch, combined them, and then aesthetically painted them like Sion from League of Legends. But really, the unique gameplay with this guy, if they could retool him, rechange them, or, you know, change around some numbers, I think it'd be really fun if we mostly played with Power Siphon and Calamity Blast, which is going to be the shield and then Fireball. Shield, Fireball. That would be really cool gameplay. There's some characters in other games and other MOBAs like Battle Right that have characters like that, where you shield, attack, I think that's a really cool kind of playstyle. But since this guy does focus on melee, it's just a little bit, it's a little bit awkward, but I think it could still work. I think we could still have some fun. We got to play around with some cards, and we got to play around with some legendaries. We got to see some builds. So immediately, I think you might actually take movement speed because he is the only melee character in this game, or maybe not, because he's just meant to kind of stand on the point anyways. So maybe you don't. Maybe he's just supposed to be somebody that you just throw into the mosh pit and he just brawls around. I think he could be really fun. I think it could be very interesting. I love characters with counters. This game actually has a great deal of counter characters, and so this is a really cool mechanic, even though it does, I think, it's very reminiscent of other characters in some other very similar games. I think, in the end, this guy could be fantastic, but right now, he's just kind of okay. I think you could fall in love if you get really good with Power Siphon and Calamity Blast, but for the most part, the fact that he is melee, I don't think the melee is satisfying, and that's kind of his main gimmick. And overall, it's too telltale. It's too hard to actually play proactive with him, and so basically you're just going to sit on the point and wait for people to kind of run into your lawnmower. So yeah, if we can just take that to heart, Paladins devs, I think we can have a lot more fun with some retoolings or, you know, just some number changes so that we can focus more on Power Siphon and Calamity Blast. I think we're all going to have a lot of fun. But anyways, guys, that's my gameplay that I have in the background. This is my review of the character, and I think it's interesting. Now, of course, I'm not a master of Paladins or this character individually, but I did want to make a video like this so you guys can see my thoughts and feelings, since I do play the entire scope of this genre in games that are even in surrounding genres, kind of like fighting games and MOBAs. I enjoy it. So hopefully, you know, I don't know, man. Hopefully you like what I have to say. Thanks for watching, guys. Either way, man, I hope you're having fun with Paladins and keep the hype alive. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you again next time.